Uh, you've seen the clip of Sargon of Akkad saying that he supports Trump now because essentially he triggers the libs. I was curious your thoughts on that.
So, before I answer that, let me just say up front, I'm friends with Sargon, so um, I consider him a friend. Him and I obviously have deep ideological differences, but I do consider him a friend. So, what I'm about to say is not in any way personal. With Dave Rubin, we were friends. Now that bridge is totally burned, and he doesn't like me, and I don't like him, and I think that's pretty obvious. But with Sargon, I still, even though we have massive disagreements, I still consider him a friend. Um, he's been nothing but a great guy, and on a personal level, I think he's really nice. But in terms of his the clip you sent me with his take on Trump, yeah, I don't. I'm shocked that a guy as smart as him would say something like that
Uh,
because that's the idea that, like, oh, I like him because of how much he triggers the left. It's like, well, that's okay. That's your standard. Like, that's your your barometer of what makes sense and who's somebody I should support politically. Because that's not a good reason, man. That's a terrible reason. And again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. When it comes to politics, I mean, I'm all about policy. That's my main thing. And when you look at a guy like Donald Trump, I mean, Jesus, you pick the issue, and I'll tell you how he's made it significantly worse. Just take the internet. I mean, look at with Ajit Pai and net neutrality. If you give a shit about a free and open internet, you should despise Donald Trump. And it's not just that. There was also another bill that the Republicans passed and Donald Trump signed. Every Republican voted for it. It gutted internet privacy rights. Now companies can take your information and sell it to third parties without your permission. It used to be they needed your permission. Now they could just sell it to whoever the fuck they want. And by the way, they did polling on that question. Literally only 6% of the American people supported that idea of gutting our internet privacy rights. But Donald Trump signed it.
does
So,
that
like,
make
and
us an oligarchy?
I mean, I think effectively we are an oligarchy for sure. Because, it's like 93% of the time, whoever raises the most money ends up winning. So, and of course, when they raise the most money, that means they have to pay those donors back when they get into office, but with favorable policy. So I think effectively we are an oligarchy. But to get back to the Trump point, I mean, again, you pick the issue, and I'll tell you how shitty Trump has been. Take healthcare. 2 million people lost their healthcare under Donald Trump's first year in office. And that's because he signed all these executive orders that gutted Obamacare. The tax plan. The tax plan gave the poor $40 each per year. It gave the top 0.1% $937,000 each. This is a bill where 83% of the benefits go to the top 1%. And by the way, over a 10-year period, it actually raises taxes on everybody making $75,000 a year or less. So this is a guy who, has declared class warfare on the poor and the middle class. Like, I was sympathetic, and I think this is why there are some people who are nominally on the right who listen to my show, because, like, I was sympathetic during the election. Like, I don't think your average Trump voter is the same as your average Mitt Romney voter. Like, Mitt Romney voters, I had less respect for because Mitt Romney was almost telling you up front that he wasn't in any way populist and he was 100% with the 1%, and he was everything bad and there was no redeeming quality about him. With Donald Trump during the campaign, he in some ways acted populist, whether he said, I'm not going to cut Social Security, I'm not going to cut Medicare, I'm not going to outsource your jobs. Half the time on foreign policy, he said, I'm going to get out of these stupid wars. I want to rebuild our country here at home. So I think there are some genuine, anti-establishment Trump voters who are just regular people who are going through economic hardship and they voted for Trump. So I was sympathetic to some people who voted for Trump. But now, if you're still defending Trump, I mean, you're just not paying attention to what's going on, because it turns out everything he said that was populist or anti-establishment was just a total lie, because the administration has gone in the opposite direction. I mean, even take the issue of outsourcing. Everything he said about, oh my God, these trade deals are so bad, and I'm going to make sure we keep our jobs in this country and make America great again. Well, guess what? 93,000 jobs were outsourced under Trump's first year. Barack Obama's last year was 87,000. So he's even worse than Obama. And Obama wasn't good on issues of trade deals and outsourcing. So basically, my point is any objective way of measuring like how Trump is doing reveals that he is the establishment. He's acting as a complete establishment president. So, I get it that there are some people who like, the mean tweets, if you will, and like the fact that he triggers the establishment media. Hey, sometimes I like the fact that he triggers the establishment media. But that doesn't mean that, therefore, you should support him. I mean, obviously, it requires a deeper analysis. It requires going into what he's actually doing in terms of policy. And when you look at policy, I mean, he is George W. Bush. He is Hillary Clinton. He is the establishment. And he's fucking over regular people left and right, increased drone strikes 432%, bombing 8 different countries, doing war crimes left and right. I mean, this guy's a fucking joke.